Welcome back. Ito na kaya ang taon na wawakasan ng France ang kanilang 20-year title drought sa FIFA World Cup? Well, let's talk now to football analyst Bob Guerrero and sports analyst and Nomads FC coach Eric Antoine. Good evening, guys. Welcome to Score.
Thank you.
Good evening. All right. Well, France is one of the teams that we're all looking forward to. It just got me 20 years. It's been quite some time since they last won, 1998. But Eric, introduce us to this team for those who have kind of lost track since they won in 1998 when Zidane, made those two headers and brought them to the world stage. How has France been since then?
Well, obviously, a couple years later, they won the European Cup in 2000. But in more recent times, they made the final in the European Cup at home in 2016. And in the previous World Cup in Brazil, 2014, they actually lost to Germany in the quarterfinals, 1-0. Very tight, competitive match. So, a quarterfinal in the previous World Cup and finals appearance in the last European Cup.
And 2006 they went to the finals again, right? So, but Bob, talk about the Filipino vibe for France. And back then, when they won, a lot of Filipinos, jumped on the bandwagon. Can we say that?
I was watching it. They showed it on. They showed it on another channel.
I remember it too. Yeah,
I was watching it. I remember staying up and watching those two goals by Zidane and then Emmanuel Petit, the breakaway. They were chasing the game, right? So a lot of flair. Just fantastic players, beautiful players, great. And they were sporting culture. They were one of those they were like Spain. That it took a while for them to get their first World Cup.
And since then, Eric, tell us about who are the new players we should watch out for this year. I know we were talking about this before we got on air. There's a bunch of talented young guys out there who can easily make this lineup. It's going to be a headache for the coaching staff to figure out their final 23. But give us some big names at who you expect to possibly break out in this World Cup.
Well, the leaders of the team currently, in my opinion, are Antoine Griezmann from Atletico Madrid. N'Golo Kante from Chelsea, and of course Pogba from Manchester United. And you have Kylian Mbappe now, the young 19-year-old striker for PSG. So those are the four top players. But there is a lot of, there are the highlights there. There's a lot of new faces. France actually is going to be one of the youngest teams in the World Cup with an average age of about 24 years old.
Interesting.
So apart from Koscielny and maybe Olivier Giroud and striker, two players that are over 30 years old, but for the most part, it's a very young team.
All right. Bob, we were talking about this, that there's an interesting possibility of a Pinoy, technically born and raised, pure Filipino, but born and raised in France, of making this lineup. Talk about Areola and how there's apparently a chance he can make it as a third keeper.
Yeah, well, Alphonse Areola is Filipino on both sides, full-blooded, but I believe he's been born and raised there.
Yeah.
And he is part of the Clairefontaine Academy, which is the elite academy for French footballers.
Correct.
And he's a goalkeeper with Paris Saint-Germain. But I believe, is he still on loan or he's back from loan?
No, he's starting for PSG now.
He's starting for PSG, which is the #1 club in France. And he won an Under-20 World Cup for France in 2013.
2013, yeah.
So all this, Eric, makes us excited, as Filipinos to possibly have a Filipino at least on the lineup. What do you see the chances of him making it?
I think he'll make the roster. He's been called up consistently over the last year, and most recently in their two friendlies. I'm pretty sure he's going to make the team. There's no doubt about that. The second keeper, Mandanda, picked up an injury recently, so that'll only boost Areola's chances of not only making the squad, but should Lloris...
Hugo Lloris of Tottenham. He's got to displace Hugo Lloris. Lloris made a blunder last week, although they still beat Chelsea. So, but Hugo Lloris, I mean, he's definitely their #1, barring any kind of injury or
he's the team
suspension.
captain.
So, but it's funny because if Alphonse gets on the field in the World Cup, then he can never play for the Ascals because he'll be captain.
We're still hoping, right? We're still hoping that he doesn't play a national team, men's team.
As long as he doesn't get capped or play in a competitive game for France, in theory, he can still play for the Philippines.
That's Bob Guerrero's battle cry.
If you see him in the World Cup, then we're excited for him, but he'll never play for the Ascals.
All right. Now, zoning back in this group, okay, this group is made up of France, Australia, Peru, Denmark. I've read a bit about it, and some have said that this is an easy group for France. They should easily come out of this. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know who told you that, but I'm sure that's the common thoughts when you look at the group. But Peru's a very strong team. They qualified on the final day. They drew Argentina twice in qualifying. What's interesting is all three teams in France's group, Denmark, Australia, and Peru, all made the World Cup through a playoff.
Ooh, through a playoff.
Continental playoff, yeah.
Peru got the final bid in South America, and they had to play against New Zealand. Australia had to play against Honduras, and of course Denmark played Ireland in a playoff. But it's not an easy group. France and Denmark have a long history. This will be their 6th head-to-head in a major tournament. France is up 3-2. And interesting enough, the first 4, the winner went on to win the competition.
Wow.
So Denmark is strong. I watched them thrash Poland 4-0 in qualifying, and Poland's no pushover. Peru's a solid South American team. And Australia had a good qualifying campaign. Although they finished 3rd, I thought they did well. They have some good young players.
Aaron Moy.
Matthew Leckie. And
Ryan, the goalkeeper, plays in the Premier League.
So they shouldn't be a pushover. These
no, this is not going to be a pushover group.
But beyond that, Bob, there's talk of those who will be in the way of France could even be themselves. When we talk about this, the internal issues that they've had in the past.
Yeah.
Give us a bit of a background of what they've had in the past, bringing up 2010, what happened then?
2010, they were in a group and they had some issue where the coach had to read a statement from the players, and Nicolas Anelka, they had a problem. They didn't want to train one day.
Wow.
And Nicolas Anelka is a character, right?
Yes.
So, but nothing in the last World Cup, right?
No, nothing in the last World Cup, but the 2010, there was a locker room bust-up between the coach and Anelka at halftime of the Mexico game, and it was all downhill after that.
In the middle of the World Cup.
Yeah, and then the players supported their teammate Anelka, and they refused to train. They stayed on the bus. But since then, they had a good World Cup in Brazil. Deschamps likes to run a tight ship.
He's probably a better man manager than Raymond Domenech, right?
Well, that's...
Domenech?
Doesn't matter. Let's forget about Domenech. Domenech was probably the worst coach in French history. And Deschamps is a very good coach. He took Monaco to the Champions League final. He rescued Juventus when they went down to Serie B. And he helped Marseille win their first title in forever. So, but like I said, he's a strict coach, and team unity is very important. We don't want any locker room, distractions. He wants a cohesive group that all gets along together.
It's interesting, though, before we leave that, French, very diverse squad. Always been, for a long time.
Always,
Yeah.
Well, Eric has said it, that the group is no pushover. It's not that easy. But then also, France is being tipped as one of the title favorites who could win it all.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Bob?
Well, Zico was just here, the Brazilian great who unfortunately lost to France in 1986 in the World Cup. And so I was the media officer of his trip here, and I remember somebody asked him, who are the favorites for the World Cup? He said, Germany and Brazil and France. He mentioned France, He really rates France. And you look at the French team, almost all of their players, their starting 11, will play in UEFA Champions League teams. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Tottenham, Chelsea. Giroud is with Chelsea. Griezmann is with Atletico Madrid. They have quality throughout that whole squad from front to back.
Yeah.
Parting shot, Eric. You think they have a chance to win it all? Legit?
I mean, I can't believe I'm going to have to disagree with Zico here. I do agree, Germany and Brazil. But I would have Spain and Argentina in that top
ahead of France,
grouping of the top 4. Then the second tier, I would have France, Portugal, maybe Belgium and England. France are right there. They have a very talented team. Anything can happen. But I would have my top 4 as Brazil, Germany, Spain, and Argentina.
So quarterfinals for France, maybe. Stretches semifinals.
The problem is if France win the group, they'll have to play the Group D runner-up, which would probably be Croatia. If everything goes according to plan and France wins, they'd play Croatia. And Peru, I feel Peru will finish second, and that would set up a mouth-watering South American round of 16 with Argentina. So that would be interesting.
All right, it should be interesting nonetheless. But thanks for revisiting history with us and enlightening us on the chances of France and this new look French team. Bob, Eric, thank you so much. See you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Susunod na, muli natin balikan ang iconic World Cup Championship win ng France 20 years ago. Stay with us here on The Score.
For more sports updates, keep watching The Score. And don't forget to subscribe.